And tonight on Joy News Prime, police at Goma Ojobi have begun investigations into the defilement of a 10-year-old girl on the assault on her father by some nomadic herdsmen.
No arrest. We have not made any arrest. The person is on admission. So it's under investigation. We will get them arrested.
Also, Ghana in advanced talks with COVID-19 vaccine producers to reproduce some of the vaccines locally.
Like AstraZeneca, like Pfizer, they are already, the testing has been done, the research has been done, the vaccine is in use. And we want to be able to copy it in Ghana.
And wondering why the Keep Kumasi Clean and Green campaign failed?
National Coordinating Council provided an amount of 100,000 Ghana cedis as seed money for the takeoff of the campaign. The lack of interest shown by almost all the MMDAs let the project down.
We'll bring you details in business. Ecobank Joy News Habitat Fair launched in Accra, more as the organizers tout the potential of the event to help address the over 2 million housing deficit in the country.
Importantly, we can work with you to ensure that even though you are in the informal sector, you can also retire comfortably, having built up the funds you need, having built up your pension, and having had your pension working for you from day one, so that you retire into your own home.
We have details of all these, plus the latest in sports, showbiz, and of course, some international stories for you. My name is Herdsmen, and Joy News Prime is coming to you live from our studios at Fanofa in Kukumlimli, Accra. We are on your digital TV because you are free to air. DSTV channel 421, Go TV 144. This is your home of independent, fearless, credible, and impactful journalism. Stay tuned in. Hello again, many thanks for joining us wherever you are. Some residents of Abesim, a town rocked by the gruesome murder of 2 children, say they suspect the alleged murderer to be a serial killer. Now, they have asked the police to look into the mysterious disappearance of people in the area. The arrest of Richard Appiah and a subsequent police search of his house revealed the bodies of 2 children aged 12 and 15. Pieces of meat suspected to be human parts were also found stocked in his fridge in the house. Mother of Stephen Sapon, one of the victims, believes her son's death may be a lead to exposing what could be a hidden serial crime. Love FM's Erastus Asare Dongo has been gauging the mood at Abesim and engaging the families of the victims. Here's his report.
Almost tied to Sunyani in the Bono region, has a history of ritual murders. But residents are shocked at the latest brutal murder in his Alaska suburb. In your shot is the sprawling new settlement called Alaska. Now within this community is this building, uncompleted though behind me, which is the subject of police homicide investigations at the moment. In this building the police have found the remains of some children believed to have been murdered by a suspect currently in police custody. Now, at the moment, we have the place cordoned off. There are 2 armed policemen in front of the building. They've placed police cordon materials around the building. It's a no-go area for passers-by and even nosing journalists like myself. It's been a week since the decapitated body of Stephen Sapon, 15, and lifeless body of Louis Ajiman, 12, were found in this house. This man remembers seeing the suspect, Richard Appiah, 28, and one of the victims, Louis Ajiman, a day before his disappearance.
About
3:30 on Thursday, I saw the suspect and one of the boys he killed walk past this road. The boy was holding a bottle of water and Coke with his bag strapped to his back. I thought the boy was his brother until the next day we heard he has killed him. The discovery has brought sorrow to affected families. Eunice Yeboah Esuama is the mother of Stephen Sapon, found decapitated. She believes the suspect is a serial killer and her son's death is a lead to his serial crimes.
The suspect joined us in search of my son. We never suspected he was the one who had killed him. It wasn't for my son's death. We would never have arrested him because he has killed a lot of people. In his room, they found women's braziers, school uniforms. Does he sell braziers? So I believe my son has sacrificed his life for this killer to be exposed for the safety of all.
The Abesim, Alaska murder has triggered renewed fear and anxiety amongst people whose loved ones have gone missing in the town. One of them is Kweku Nyameche, a carpenter whose shop sits a few meters from the crime scene. His teenage son, Kinsley Boache Dankwa, has been missing for a month. He fears the boy may have fallen victim. I've heard of the discovery of bodies in that house. That is why I want to get close to the police to find out if my boy has fallen victim to this guy. The heinous crime has triggered a new sense of awareness and fear.
I pass across this road. Now I feel scared that somebody will kill me too.
I wish I don't pass here again because anything can happen. It maybe he's not the only one who does that.
We are all scared. Now we look out for each other. If you want to hire one of us, we have to send another person to accompany him. The Abesim chief recently suggested the suspect might be mentally imbalanced. But many, including this man, disagree.
The guy, I know him, very young guy. He's not a mad person. He's not a mad person. So if somebody tells that the guy is a mad person, the person is a liar.
This is the family house of the suspected murderer, Richard Appiah. Now, the family members are not speaking with us for personal reasons, but we sense feelings of anger, grief, and anxiety. Now, grief because the suspect we are talking about, who is alleged to have murdered these children in that horrible manner, is indeed a family member of one of the victims, Louise Ajman, 12 years. And so, currently, the family is waiting upon the police to conclude their investigations and unravel the circumstances that led to their family member engaging in this horrible act. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Abesim, Bono region.
Now, police at Gomwa Ojobi have begun investigations into the defilement of a 10-year-old girl and the assault on her father by nomadic herdsmen. Some nomadic herdsmen are alleged to have shot the 10-year-old girl and defiled the girl and shot the father thereafter. Now, they are reported to have brutalized the father of the girl at Gomwa Ojobi. The district police commander, DSP Osei Fofie, says they are on a hunt for the suspects.
August, at about 10 a.m., we had the information that 4 armed men attacked one security at Gomwa Adentem. It's a poultry security. So they were rushed to Porting Polyclinic. As I'm speaking, they were on admission. Was raped, and there was a gunshot. The armed men fired a right hand. This morning we came to the facility, and the 2 pallets were removed from the the abdomen, and the hand. Today is better. They are responding to treatment.
Any arrest?
At the moment, no arrest. We have not made any arrest. The person is on admission, so it's under investigation. If we will get them arrested, we'll get them. Yes. I'm pleading to the public, any information, they should inform the police, because robbery is very serious. First-degree felony. It's a first-degree felony.
And residents of Gomoa Adentim threatened to hunt down the 4 nomadic herdsmen who allegedly raped a 10-year-old girl and assaulted her father.
Bon say would be able to no the money we o kaka papa na o mo cost trouble me game abbo bi tie da nti me pese o mbo si asase bi o mba ye bo coin na nti asema me pese me kan ne me wie
ase no hini biara nton asase ma obi so mfa na ntwimra so sisi afulani for di nantwi ba ya ha ye nua ba ko o mu di nantwi kwose na de mo kokan a fulani fu na betetera na adofa bolutuo nti fulani biara o di nantwi ba cross aba ye teliti mu aso obedi didie nya yesu ewotu a ha bia no ye boku na atwene ya asam no nti mo fulani bia mfa nantwi ma
je fulani fu mo batan wodi nantwi ba no wanya na nya di ntamfu ye hini biara nje ai fulani o ma fulani biara asase lo mfa nantwi mra ha. So the
residents are essentially threatening to kill any herdsman who comes into the area with his cattle to graze, and they're saying that they do not want to see them around. It's either they assault them or kill them. The young girl and her father, identified only as Kwabnakwe, are in critical condition at the Portin Polyclinic. Medical superintendent there, Dr. Koku Jerry Vlad, says the two are responding to treatment.
On the dawn of 25th of August this month, I had a call around 1 a.m. that there has been an assault case. A lady and her father had been attacked by robbers who had shot them and, assaulted them with a cutlass and other weapons, a stick or something of the sort. So at dawn, I moved here quickly. The emergency team was already attending to them. So quickly, what I saw was that the right hand of the young lady had been badly bruised. We call it an avulsion. The whole skin had been pulled off, and just mashed up, let me put it that way. And this, according to the story, was secondary to a gunshot that the assailants or the robbers used. She was bleeding profusely. And from what I gathered also, she had also been gang raped. 4 of the assailants had, subjected her to that gruesome activity. The father had lots of injuries, but significant among them from the first glance was the head injury. There were 2 major cuts that were bone deep. You could see the bone from right by looking at it. I think that was a cutlass inflicted injury. So we did what we had to do as health workers. And by God's grace, both patients are still alive. The father has been discharged home. He's walking around, as you can see, with the commander of the division of the police. The daughter, however, is still on admission. Yesterday, we looked at an X-ray that had been requested for, and the X-ray showed that there were a lot of pellets or bullets in that particular hand that needed to be extracted.
Father of the 10-year-old girl Kwabnakwe, who was assaulted by the herdsmen, shares his ordeal with Joy News.
The mirror inside war, me crabby banner, because in Suma go grammar. Me can't put me pay. Onuma and who there will be prune. Prune and a moving who there, Padaman about walk with Otu. Onuma and me can't prune the tomb. But can't prune the tomb and I'm also door to call lock. no what's the mimbu prune. No be some of them I or there. A day Fulani, a day na mayo, Namimbu pruno, or some fast cannon, and I say dance caminiske biao. No se mimbu pruno, no dinner pia pruno, pruno mbie, no, meba no si do da. Me lock a pruno to a bar prunation or ball locking, baby, or locking no boat you the foul. The before me banners I do on mobile locking now. You know, taboo no come banners, and no catch them the Dawa minister to an so on one go see what in a TV casino on Panachi Hormona.
We had just finished dinner when the armed nomadic herdsmen stormed our home. They pushed the door open and demanded money, but I told them I didn't have any. I tried to ward them off. They fired their gun. I was wounded. They took my daughter while I was bleeding. When I tried to rescue my daughter, another started using a knife on me. Just about the same time, I heard a gunshot from afar. Then they fled. Everything blacked out from there. They later found my daughter also injured, but the bullets have been removed.
So the chief of Gomoa Adin team, Nana Esa Lisando, has been speaking to Adom TV's Kofi J about this development.
The Fulani herdsman issue is more alarming. A day before yesterday night, I had a call from one of the tenants on my land confirming the presence of, he said, armed robbers. They came to attack a certain boy, namely Rasta, and his daughter. They shot him and the child. They took the daughter under 13 years. They lay her ambush and raped her. And in fact, they are now on admission at Gomoa Potsen Polyclinic. So today, my youth, the youth in this town, they are now aggressive. And they are demonstrating against the Fulani herdsmen who enter my land, whereby I have not leased any land to Fulani man.
Let me now take you to the Volta region. Residents of the border town of Aplau in the Ketu South municipality of the Volta region are protesting what they say is the refusal of government to open land borders for over a year. President Akufo-Addo announced the closure of the country's land and sea borders in March last year in response to the COVID-19 pandemic in the country. Ketu South MP Jifa Gumashi, who led the protest themed Open Our Land Borders Now, says marriages of her constituents are collapsing, with people committing suicide due to the hardships associated with the closure. Watch this. Now, away from that, the ongoing construction work of the Takoradi three-tier interchange is likely to suffer major setbacks following agitations by laborers working on the project. The laborers, according to the laborers who have been speaking, say they are angry over the 19 cedis daily wage. Due to the current situation, the workers laid down their tools to press home their demands for better and improved conditions of service at the construction site, which is at Funku in the Ahanta West municipality. The $2 billion Sino-Hydro project being executed by Messrs. Sino-Hydro Corporation Limited is expected to be completed in 30 months. The project, when completed, will improve the traffic situation in Takoradi and its environs. Some of the displeased workers say they drew the attention of the Western Regional Minister, Dr. Kwabnoche Dakumensa, to their plight. The minister summoned the contractor for a meeting where the Messrs. Sino-Hydro management was advised to correct the situation within 10 days.
Now, we are agitating this morning because of our conditions of services here. As construction workers, what we are being paid is not worth it. Therefore, we are making this demonstration. And then what we are looking at is our condition of service. One, the amount they pay us per day is 19 cedis averagely. Now, we have to also know the job categories. How much a welder is taking, how much a mason, a driver, an HR, a warehouse person, or everybody. You have to segregate the work and let us know. Secondly, we also don't have off days. They have to make arrangement for those things because construction is a very tedious job. At the same time, our transportation, there's no water provided here on site for us. And the food, they don't give us any food. At the same time, medical, they don't give us anything medical. The least you do, with no reason, they try to tell you, sack, they take you out without any compensation. Therefore, we are calling the president to sit with them, let them have a decision, a collective decision regarding our salaries, our pay here, so that we will get back to work. If that is not the case, then we have to also take it to the right quarters for them to address the situation for us, because we are crying and even calling on people within who have the power to be on our aid, but nobody is responding to us. We try to sit with them and discuss, but they are not trying to give us ear to whatever we are saying. And therefore, until they respond to us, we are also not going to stop this demonstration. We are going to demonstrate until our voices are heard, and the best is done for us.
Government is facilitating talks with some global pharmaceutical giants to reproduce some of the COVID-19 vaccines locally under a fill and finish deal. Under the fill and finish deal, Joy News is learning that talks with Johnson & Johnson are at an advanced stage, which will result in some of the local pharmaceutical companies starting production using Johnson & Johnson method. Now, chairman of the government COVID-19 response team, Dr. Anefia Samuabam, disclosed this at a media engagement forum towards the establishment of the National Vaccine Institute.
We are trying to resolve two problems. One, there are already known vaccines, like AstraZeneca, like Pfizer. They are already, the testing has been done, the research has been done, the vaccine is in use. And we want to be able to copy it in Ghana. In order to do that, you need government's intervention to facilitate discussion between the original owners so that the private sector can be allowed to copy. So that is one of the big areas that this institute is going to help. How do we copy vaccines that are already known? Then the second problem we're trying to address is more for the future. How do we develop the capacity to do our own research, discover our own vaccines for future diseases? So those are two different, and that is where the research institutions needs to be supported on a sustained basis for a number of years, so that this time is COVID. 10 years' time is another. By that time, we have people who have been working on different vaccines so that one of them can be used. So I just wanted to clarify there are those two issues. The first is copying something that is already known, Pfizer vaccines or polio vaccines. All this we import. So it's like assembling a car. We're establishing an assembly plant here. We have strong pharmaceutical industries, but they produce medicines, not vaccines. And producing vaccines and medicines are like producing cars and airplanes. They are not the same. All right, so that is the first problem we want to address. The second problem is how do we get to the stage where when we get a new disease, our research institutions are already been working on some type of vaccines that can be tested and used for these purposes. So there are two different processes. And this institute is going to make sure that those things happen. But the institute itself will not produce vaccines.
President Akufo-Addo a few months ago set up the National Vaccine Development Committee to formulate a concrete plan of action towards vaccine development and manufacturing in Ghana. The 10-year strategic plan, costing $200 million, will witness a fully functional national vaccine center capable of researching, developing and producing vaccines for the country and the West African sub-region. Speaking at the stakeholders engagement session to provide updates on the progress of work, Professor Kwabena Frimpong-Boateng said the private sector is leading the process.
We are not saying that we need $200 million before we can do anything. This process is private sector led. And as Professor Mpofu mentioned, DEK, that is the consortium of these three companies, Dana Dams, NS Chemist, and Kina Pharma, they've gone ahead to pay a deposit for a fill and finish plant. What it means is that if we are going to, we want to start the process by putting up one plant and do fill and finish so that we can produce a fill and finish basin in Ghana. That is very important. And so, but if you want to do that, you have to order the equipment. So if you place an order, it takes 14 months before it's delivered. And installation, and then you get your tech transfer, get the bulk supply of vaccine from somewhere, and you bottle it. And that will take about 2 years. But what is happening now is that our partners from Germany have helped us to locate a plant that was delivered to a company in Europe, but they did not use it, brand new. So we know where it is, and that is why the government has given a guarantee for an uptick, and that has encouraged the DK people to place an order for that plant. We hope that it will be here before the end of the year, installed. Then maybe by next year, we'll be able to do a fill and finish basin in Ghana.
Still on COVID-19, the Ghana Health Service has launched what it calls the peer-to-peer enforcement strategy to help curb the spread of the virus. In a stakeholders meeting with members of various transport unions, officials explained citizens will serve as checks on others through this initiative. Hence, drivers will not engage or allow passengers who refuse to observe the protocols in their vehicles. Listen to Dr. Takoradi, who is in charge of risk communication at the Ghana Health Service.
We have noted that we have a role to play in obviously supporting what the government is doing in the enforcement bit. So what we've decided to do is we've introduced some initiative which is called peer-to-peer enforcement strategy. And what it does is to put the responsibility on the citizens to actually enforce the COVID-19 protocols among their peers. So, for example, now we are engaging the transport unions and the media. So if, for example, you are going to board a vehicle and the mate and the driver do not have face masks, you insist that they have the face mask. Other than that, you will not get in the car. And it's vice versa. And even if you are sitting in the car and someone closer to you do not have the face mask, you have a responsibility to tell the person to put on his or her face mask. So if you go to the market and you want to buy from the market sellers, you insist that you not buy from them if they do not have their face mask on, and it's vice versa. So those are some of the things that we are doing to support the enforcement by the government. Now, we haven't stopped there. What we've done is also to engage the various regional ministers in Greater Accra and Kumasi, Ashanti region. So for them, what they are also doing is to engage the various RICSEC groups and the district public health management systems so that obviously they task their assemblies to have a task force to enforce the safety protocol to support what the police is doing.
Members of the transport unions at this meeting commended the Ghana Health Service for this initiative and promised to ensure its effective implementation amongst the transport service providers. Some of them spoke to Joy News.
It's a good initiative as well because, you know, we as executives, we have members on the IS and we have to carry the messages to them like what we've learned here. And interacting with them, it will also help the people because they have families in their house. But as to what is going on, they may not know, some of them don't know what is going on, but through us, they may get to know, then they get carried to their houses where they are living in their vehicles. They can also drive the passengers who are not adhering to the protocols. We, the participants in this forum, will have tags on X that will indicate that we've really indeed undertake sensitization and educative studies of protocol that will ensure that people adhere to the COVID-19 protocols.
This is Joy News Prime with me, Ernest Mino. Still to come, wondering why the Keep Kumasi Clean and Green campaign failed?
Our Coordinating Council provided an amount of 100 100,000 Ghana cedis as seed money for the takeoff of the campaign. The lack of interest shown by almost all the MMDs let the project down.
We'll hear from the Ashanti Regional Minister and later in business. Ecobank Journeys Habitat Fair launched in Accra. We have more as the organizers tout the potential of this event to help address the over 2 million housing deficit in the country.
Importantly, we can work with you to ensure that even though you are in the informal sector, you can also retire comfortably, having built up the funds you need, having built up your pension, and having had your pension working for you from day one, so that you retire into your own home.
Yeah, welcome to Business. I'm Charles Aiche. This year's Ecobank Journeys Habitat Fair has been launched in Accra, and with organizers touting the potential of the event to help address the over 2 million housing unit deficit in Ghana. Speaking at the launch, the Managing Director of Ecobank Ghana, headline sponsors Daniel Saki, said it was a significant platform to provide solutions to the housing needs of Ghanaians.
Having provided a platform for estate developers and prospective homeowners to engage for many years, the Ecobank Joy News Habitat Fair is here again this year. The event by the Multimedia Group and Ecobank Ghana supports efforts by government in finding a lasting solution to Ghana's housing challenges. Speaking at the launch of this year's event in Accra, Managing Director for Ecobank Ghana, Daniel Saki, said customers will be given the best deals to reduce the housing challenge.
Notwithstanding the initial challenges we had, I think working with the Multimedia Group and our partners, and as Israel went through the list of partners, there was one conviction I had that if you are looking for a solution to your housing problem, all the key stakeholders you have or you need are part of this event and are represented in this building. And that is saying a lot about the solutions that will be available to anybody who is interested in solving the housing equation. When I say that housing equation, I'm not asking for solving some complex equations. But housing is a challenge in Ghana.
He has also been explaining some innovative products the bank will provide to potential homeowners who will be at the fair.
Given that every worker, or most workers, let me qualify it, have access to pensions that they are putting up, we believe that you should not wait until you are retiring before you be able to access your pension and acquire a house. Why can't we put our heads together, work with the pension fund trustees, and ensure that your pension that is being built up can start working from you from now?
The 2021 Ecobank Joy News Habitat Fair is under the theme Home Ownership to Build or to Buy. Chief Operating Officer for the Multimedia Group, Ken Ansah, has assured that expectations of patrons will be met, citing the good track record of the event.
This class of entrepreneurs and businesses who together, collectively, bring on board all the solutions that are needed to solve the housing problem. We at Joy News and Multimedia are only facilitating and creating the platform for these great solutions to come together, to be presented to you who needs a home, and to get you a one-stop location where you can tap into these various services.
Meanwhile, one of the major sponsors, Cities and Habitats, also used the opportunity to give a snapshot of some uniqueness of their rent-to-own project. Here is project manager Daniel Ohene Edu.
How do we do it? How do we help them? That is where the Cities and Habitats and rent-to-own come in to fill that need.
The main event takes place on the 27th October at the Accra International Conference Center.
Now, government is expected to complete the establishment of a mobile application to ensure a simplified mode of filing taxes by October this year. The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, says this will aggressively increase Ghana's revenue mobilization. We have more in this report.
According to the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia,
The Revenue Assurance and Compliance Enforcement Initiative is part of government resource mobilization framework to aid in the recovery of the economy. Speaking at the launch of the initiative, Dr. Baumia said the introduction of the project will be the last line of defense in ensuring the effective mobilization of domestic revenue, noting that digitalization of tax collection and administration is crucial in addressing tax compliance issues in the country.
6% today. And so we've made a major leap forward. The question, however, is how to convert this 86% into actual taxpayers. That is the key question that we have. And this is why we are putting this machinery in place. This is why we are doing this. Thankfully, the Ministry of Finance, under the leadership of Ken Oforiatta and the Commissioner General of GRA, working with the economic management team, have initiated work on a mobile application for the filing of taxes. I'm happy to say that the mobile application for the simplified filing of taxes should be ready by October this year.
The Minister of State in charge of Finance, Charles Edubuayen, said the 30 billion cedis out of the 100 billion cedis expected to be mobilized for the Ghana Cares Obatamba program is to be generated through domestic revenue mobilization.
GRA and RACE will work together to reduce tax non-compliance and revenue leakages, improve the efficiency of tax administration, and improve risk management and fiscal planning. Over time, we expect to capture potential taxpayers in the informal sector who deliberately avoid taxes, improve risk management mechanisms, and influence the design of tax policies.
Also at the launch, Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Reverend Amin Shaddai Owusu-Amoah, said the initiative will improve the effectiveness of taxpayer services and promote voluntary tax compliance.
For us to be effective, there must be enhanced digitalization, there must be cooperation among various parties. We must ensure that both the domestic and the customs front, we are effective and efficient in the collection of taxes.
The Financial Intelligence Center and the Economic and Organized Crime Office, the authority will be able to meet its target of 30 billion Ghana cedis.
And that'll be for business for this segment, after which we have sports to stay.
Time for sports, and Manchester United have confirmed they've reached an agreement to re-sign Cristiano Ronaldo from Juventus. Ronaldo scored 118 goals in 292 games in his first spell at Old Trafford before leaving for Real Madrid in 2009. There is more in the following report by Ellen Bernard.
United have agreed to pay Juventus 50 million euros plus a further 80 million euros in add-ons for Ronaldo, who is set to sign a 2-year contract after personal terms are finalized. Ronaldo scored 118 goals in 292 games in his first spell at Old Trafford before leaving for Real Madrid in 2009. United's announcement of the Portuguese superstar comes after a dramatic 24 hours. Neighbours Man City had looked to be one of the favourites to land the forward, and some reports suggested that personal terms had already been agreed between the two. However, Ronaldo has returned to United, where he spent 6 years and won 3 Premier League titles, 1 Champions League, 2 League Cups, and 1 FA Cup, as well as a FIFA Club World Cup and Community Shield under Sir Alex Ferguson. Ronaldo's departure from Juventus was confirmed on Friday by manager Massimiliano Allegri, who revealed he was told by the player he had no intention of playing for the club again.
Accra Hearts of Oak, champions of the 2020-2021 Ghana Premier League, have dominated the NASCO GPL Player and Coach of the Year award shortlist. There is more in this Joy Sports report.
5 players have been shortlisted as nominees for the NASCO Ghana Premier League Player of the Season for the 2020-21 league season. Top scorer Diawusi Taylor, Wafes Augustin Boache, former Great Olympics midfielder Gladson Awako, and Hasselfolk's duo Benjamin Futu and Ibrahim Salifu have been shortlisted for the top award. The winner of the prestigious award will receive a 5,000 Ghana Cedi shopping voucher and all expenses paid weekend stay at Alisa Hotel and a personal personalized trophy. Great Olympics coach Anna Walker, alongside Mariano Barreto, Vladislav Veric, Prosper Nate Ogum, and league winner Samuel Boedi for the NASCO GPL Coach of the Season award. The winner will receive a shopping voucher worth 8,000 Ghana cedis and a personalized trophy.
Let's take a look at the statistics back in the various nominations for the NASCO GPL and Coach of the Year awards. So you see, Augustine Boachi of the West African Football Academy played 29 matches, scored 9 goals with 13 assists, ended with 7 Man of the Match awards. Salif Ibrahim, he started the season with 11 wonders and ended at Accra Hearts of Oak. 33 matches across those two teams, 3 goals, 8 assists, was voted 8 times as the Man of the Match. Gladson Awako, formerly of Accra Great Olympics, played 31 games across the season, 7 goals, 7 assists, 4 times emerged as the Man of the Match. Diawisi Taylor of Karela United, 31 matches, 18 goals, he scored there, 7 assists, 4 times with the Man of the Match award. Benjamin Afutu Kote played 29 matches across the season, 9 goals from midfield, 2 assists, twice voted the Man of the Match. And the nominees for the Coach of the Season award: Dr. Prosper Nate Ogum, the coach of the West Africa Football Academy, 34 matches across the season, 16 wins, 8 draws, 10 losses, 46 goals scored, 38 goals conceded, finished 3rd on the Premier League table. Mariano Barreto of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, 18 matches, 8 wins, 6 draws, 4 losses, 23 goals scored, 15 conceded, ended the season in 2nd place. Anna Walker of Accra Great Olympics, 29 matches, won 12 of them, drew 6 times and lost 11 times. Scored 30 goals, conceded 31 goals. Great Olympics ended the season 6th on the league table. And Samuel Boedu also handled Mediama and Accra of Oak throughout the season. 34 matches, 18 wins, 9 draws, 7 losses, 43 goals, scored 23, conceded, ended the season as a champion with Accra Hearts of Oak. And Vladislav Veric of Dreams FC, 24 matches, 10 wins, 6 draws, 8 losses, 34 goals scored, 25 conceded, finished 7th on the league table. That's it for now. There will be more sports later in the bulletin. I'm Hans Mensah Ando.
And sadly, I have to do Showbiz all alone today, but we have some great stories for you. Ghanaian UK-based Afrobeat singer Fuse ODG has slammed critics judging Ghanaian artists over their inability to frequently win a Grammy Award for the country. According to the leader of This Is New Africa movement, the talent and hard work of Ghanaian musician is way above the Grammy, and thus admonishing Ghanaians to stop criticizing and trolling artists for failing to win it. He spoke to Andy Dusty on Daybreak Hits.
I feel like we need to be careful that we don't equate the Grammy to talent. Ghana has some of the best talent that the world has ever seen. And for the Afrobeat scene, Ghana has contributed next to Nigeria more than any other country in the world. We have broken records that nobody has ever broken before, right? So Ghana, to me, is way above the Grammys, because the Grammy doesn't equal the talent of the artist. Bob Marley has never won a Grammy before in his life. But to me, and to everyone as well, he's one of the best musicians in the world. So we need to be very careful, because it's very demotivating, because the artists are working very hard. And to me, we should not, raise this Grammy thing to a level where it's like we're equating it to like the talent and the hard work of Ghanaian musicians, because we work so hard and we've done so much that we can celebrate. We always focus on the wrong things. Eventually, when it happens, again, we should celebrate it, but we should not hold on to it, because it's man-made. Do you understand? And at the end of the day, all these artists are making great music and they're pushing Afrobeats to the world. They're pushing Ghana to the world. So we should not fixate on this man-made object that Kanye, who was it that was even like urinating in the
That's
Grammy?
Kanye.
That Kanye was urinating inside of. Why are we fighting for such object? It doesn't make any sense. Let's build our own platforms. Let's support Ghana Music Awards. Let's support 3 Music Awards. Let's support our own so they can come over here and we give them the award so they can complain when they don't get the award.
Right.
So we need to learn to build our own so the world comes here for award shows. All these award shows that they're doing over there are not real. It's all relationships, and it's all, there's so many artists that deserve it that don't even get it.
So that's Fuse ODG there, his thoughts on the Grammy Awards. Let's talk about Yalbeck now. He's a musician, and he says that his issues with former label boss and sound engineer Kewa did not affect his brand. The musician was part of a group of artists including Creamy and Mr. Juice signed onto Kewa's highly spiritual label in the year 2018. However, after he left the label in 2019, he made certain accusations against Kewa and even claimed that the studio where they recorded was infested with bedbugs. In January this year, he rendered an unqualified apology to the sound engineer on Hit FM, rendering all his accusations as false. But in this interview with my colleague Doreen Avio, Yalbeck shared how the experience affected him morally.
That whole incident that happened wasn't something planned. It wasn't something I really wished for. So yeah, it pinned me down, and I never even wanted to come back to music. But I kept getting messages and I mean social media. People, oh Charlie, when you did drop. So just recently, Guru, senior man Guru, big shout outs to Guru. Guru put me on his new record, I Can't Feel My Legs, and people love the song, and they are like, so Charlie, why you did? Yeah. So we just sat down and thought of, starting to bring more songs, because the songs, they're more deep.
Would you say that your issue with Kewa really affected you and your brand?
Yeah, it didn't affect my brand, because anymore. And one way or the other, to say the good part or the good aspect of it, it was Showbiz. We all had trends. Kewa's name was mentioned, my name was mentioned. Let's talk about like the good side of it, yeah. So it has helped me, my brand, but it affected me morally, because it wasn't something I was praying for or wishing for or wanting to do, say, I turn a bad person in the eyes of everybody. Now, it wasn't part of my list, so that thing really got to me. But to talk of it making my brand go down, no, I don't think so.
So that's it for Showbiz. We have more stories for you from the Ashanti region after this break. Please stay. The Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah says Chief Executive of the Metropolitan Municipal and District Assemblies failed him in the quest to restore Kumasi to its proverbial garden city status. The Keep Kumasi Clean and Green initiative was aimed at restoring the city to its past glory of environmental cleanliness, including the planting of trees. To show commitment to the cause, the Regional Coordinating Council allocated a seed amount of 100,000 for the campaign. However, the regional minister says the MMDCEs failed to make the project work. He was speaking at the launch of a renewed project dubbed Sustainable Cleaning, Greening and Beautification of the Ashanti region. Prince Apia has more.
3 years ago, the Keep Kumasi Clean and Green project was initiated. Through the initiative, trees were planted in the medians of roads in Kumasi. Some successes were made, but the project could not achieve overall objectives. Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah says MMDCs failed him.
The Regional Coordinating Council provided an amount of 100,000 Ghana cedis as seed money for the takeoff of the campaign. Unfortunately, the lack of interest shown by almost all the MMDs, except some few, and the little involvement of the private sector let the project down.
Learning from the previous experience, a renewed project has taken off in collaboration with Zoom Lion Ghana Limited. The project, dubbed Sustainable Cleaning, Greening and Beautification of Ashanti Region, is subject to renewal depending on commitment of both parties. Funding for the project is yet to be affirmed, but Zoomlion will provide technical and material support for the initiative. But the regional minister is admonishing MMDCs to help make the project successful.
Learning from previous experience, we decided to collaborate with a partner that has the capacity, expertise, and knowledge, and equipment, and other resources to ensure the success of this project. And looking around in the whole country, we found no other company but Zoomlion Company Limited.
General Manager of Zoomlion Ghana, Gloria Anti, says public education will be an important component of the project.
As part of this project, there will be the painting of curbs and walkways, the silting of major public drains, regular weeding of road medians, public education and awareness creation, so that when we clean, the public will be well informed and sensitized enough to change attitude so that we can sustain a clean Kumasi.
Some MMDCs pledged their direct involvement, including resource allocation. Municipal Chief Executive for Forikum, Gloria Timagambra, spoke for her colleagues.
We are telling our regional minister that we are going to actively involve in this project to see to its successful implementation and a full implementation of the project.
Reporting.
Over a year into the COVID-19 pandemic, the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research says essential machines in the facility have broken down. They need funds for preventive maintenance and to replace some of the broken down equipment. Noguchi contributes significantly to the country's COVID-19 testing, but of the many of the equipment there are under severe strain because of the heavy usage. Journalist Mapito Sebidi caught up with the head of the virology department at the facility, Dr. John Kofi Odum, who shares the challenges facing the country's biggest testing facility.
When it comes to equipment we have, but you cannot use one equipment forever.
Sure.
There's what we call preventive maintenance.
Okay.
You don't want the equipment to break down before you try to repair.
Yeah.
So there should be service contracts. And as we speak now, government has paid, it paid last year, which will end somewhere next year for 2 years service contract.
Okay.
And so we have somebody who now comes and then look at the machine. So when it breaks down, we need to call. But it has been one of the problems because most of the time you may not get, it is very expensive. What we did last year for 6 machines, the government paid about $100,000 US.
So
one machine alone, these machines that you saw over there, the real-time machine, to service. Sometimes it's working, but preventive maintenance.
I see.
$15,000 US for a year.
For one machine?
For one machine.
And so how many times does it get serviced? Or is it
once in a year. But in the course of the year, if there is any fault, once your service agreement is for 1 year, the person has to come in and then look at it.
Okay.
Sometimes they service it and there is no problem. So just visit once, and that is it, $15,000 US.
$15,000 US.
Yes.
So that's, and you have 6 of those machines.
We have even more than 6.
You have more than 6.
Yes. So that is one area that we actually need support.
Okay.
That what government has done for us for 2 years, whether or not he will continue is another thing.
Yeah.
Because I mentioned that it's not COVID work, that only COVID.
Of course.
We also work on polio viruses. This is the only laboratory in the country that work on polio viruses. So all the results we generate come from here. The machine that we use, it's also the same. It needs service contract.
Of course.
So it's an issue. If you come to flu, it's the same thing. HIV is the same thing. We all use these machines. And so we need regular maintenance, which is very, very important. This is one equipment. Apart from this, the one you see over there is called safety cabinet.
Okay.
That also needs maintenance. Apart from that, we also have other equipment like centrifuges.
Okay.
So let me show you one. We saw one here, but let me show you. Centrifuges.
Yeah.
Because of the rate at which we use them, they are breaking down just like that. So these are centrifuges. And I mentioned that we do the RNA extractions here.
Yeah.
We use them very often, several times in a day. And so they keep breaking down. And so we need more of these centrifuges.
And how many do you have right now in the facility?
In the facility, we used to have a lot. Now all of them are broken down except these two.
I see.
All of them. And these two, it's not only for COVID. You can use for polio, other. And some of the equipment you see around, they were not purchased because of COVID. They were even here before COVID.
Yeah.
So for other projects.
Yeah.
And now COVID has come in because of the workload, constant usage.
Yeah.
They are all breaking down.
All right, so what happens? All the centrifuges stop working.
We are, even yesterday, I had a meeting with the director, and I mentioned some of these things. We are taking note of them.
Okay.
We are looking for money to procure more.
Okay.
So we'll not wait until all of them are broken down.
Yeah.
We are in the process of acquiring more.
Okay.
Like I said, we need funds to do all these things.
Yeah.
The Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, GIBA, says litigation has been a major challenge draining the accounts. The newly elected president of the association, Cecil Sunkwamils, says supporting some members in legal battles in court has come at a high financial cost. He added that mobilizing resources to generate income for the association has become critical to sustain the activities and membership development. There's more in the following report.
The 3-year mandate of GIBA national executives elapsed in 2020, but they had to stay on a while longer due to the COVID-19 pandemic. New executives were elected unopposed in Kumasi on Thursday to steer affairs of the association. Newly elected President Cecil Sunkwamils says driving competitive local content, membership development and revenue mobilization to accomplish their activities remain his major concern.
We actually have been engaged in a number of other bodies who are mainly in the area of regulation and stakeholder management. So on that part, we will continue to engage with them to make sure that the policies are aligned to ensure that we get development. And at the same time, we need to find other ways of monetizing and raising financial resources for the companies for sustainability.
The 25-year-old GIBA has grown in numbers. The association is working with the security agencies and Ghana Journalists Association to ensure its members are protected in discharge of operations.
We have been involved with other partners, and we've run a number of workshops and engagements to protect the journalists and on the job, and it came in actually quite handy, and we continue to pursue, especially where lives are lost or they get injured. There are certain things that we can actually kick up to start that, and we do these engagements on a certain level, not necessarily public.
General Manager of the Adom brand at the multimedia group, Abdullahi Awudu, was elected executive member of GIBA representing internet and webcasting.
For me as an executive council member, it will be my focus to see how we can ask our partners and members and how they can leverage on the internet and webcasting to ensure that they reach everybody in the world and they tell the good stories about Ghana and they help our democratic process and freedom of speech.
Anita Sewa Ajuka's report read to you.
Her life used to be a solitary one due to a medical condition she developed during childbirth. This condition, obstetric fistula, which made her leak urine and feces, did not only strip her of her dignity as a woman, but also robbed her of the joy of being a mother. However, today, hope of living a fulfilling life has been restored to 47-year-old Rebecca Quason. Rebecca was among the 10 women who underwent free medical treatment and fistula surgeries at the Mercy Women's Catholic Hospital in Mankasim. There's more in the following reports by Beryl and Estina Richter.
My parents thought it was a curse, so I was left to my fate. The man who got me pregnant also abandoned me. I have never set eyes on him again.
A life of misery, pain, rejection, and hopelessness. That was Rebecca Quayson's story with obstetric fistula. Obstetric fistula is a medical condition that involves an abnormal opening between the bladder and the vagina, or between the rectum and vagina, or both, leading to an uncontrolled leakage of urine or feces caused by prolonged obstructed labor without access to timely and quality medical treatment. For more than 25 years, Rebecca lived with this devastating medical condition. But her woes are over now. This life-changing experience is as a result of a 40,000 Ghana cedis donation from a Joy News viewer to support free medical treatment and surgeries for Rebecca and 9 other women at the Mercy Women's Catholic Hospital in Mankasim.
By God's grace, everything is fine now. I no longer leak feces.
Dr. Felix Bowo is an obstetrician gynecologist and a fistula surgeon at the Mercy Women's Catholic Hospital. According to Dr. Bowo, it was quite a successful procedure.
At this center, we take care of obstetric fistula patients. And then one of the challenges that we have in taking care of them is raising funds for their operation, which includes pre-op operation, pre-op operation, the operation itself, and the post-op care. So we got a philanthropist who, after she had listened to the story of these women, volunteered or decided to support the care or the surgery for 10 patients or 10 women who had these conditions. So this is how we got the support to have this session done. In fact, we were happy when we got the support. And then there were 10 in all, so they were all done the same day. And I must say that it was quite successful, though we had some few ones that theirs were more complicated. So I had to spend about 5 hours in repairing one of them. But otherwise, most of them, it went well. One also had a combination of leaking urine and then feces. So we had to have 2 surgeries at the same time, which also took some time. Otherwise, generally, it was quite successful. That's on the day of the surgery. Then the post-op care, post-operative care, so I must say has been very good. They've all been doing well.
And the full report airs on Saturday at 2 p.m. on the Joy News channel. Do make a date with us. 2 other stories now. Officers at the Kumasi Central Prison want government to expand the contagious disease allowance to cover all prisons in the country. Now, the allowance, which is about 20% of their salary, is limited to personnel of the Communicable Disease Center at Ankafo Maximum Prisons. ADP Osman Tasambedu of the Kumasi Central Prisons explains congestion in all prisons increases the transmission of communicable diseases, and so they need the allowances. Now, Ojima has more in the following report.
The Communicable Disease Center at the Ankafo Maximum Prisons is set up to treat inmates with communicable diseases like tuberculosis. This is to contain and treat tuberculosis among inmates from various prisons in the country. For the risk, 20% of salary is paid as allowance to officers in the prison. The second in command at the Kumasi Central Prisons, ADP Tasambedu, believes similar risks are present in various prisons in the country.
That institution was meant for contagious diseases, but in this instance, you and I know that most of the inmates are, especially when I was there, I was an OIC there before, most of the inmates are transferred from Kumasi Central Prisons to the contagious disease. It means that those in the war prisons are even more vulnerable. Once we are with them, we go to the cells, we do the counting, we serve them with their food, we come in contact with them, we take them to hospital, we take them to court. So once we take them to court, that interaction is there. And you know TB is an airborne, and we cannot rule the fact that some of our officers are vulnerable as far as this sickness is concerned.
The prison's commander spoke to Joy News on the sidelines of a ceremony to advise and release of 20 inmates whose fines were paid by the Christo Asafo Church. The gesture is to reduce congestion in the prison, which has its capacity now overstretched. Due to poor conditions in the prison, the freed men came out with poor skin conditions. Some of them spoke about conditions in the prison.
Nipa be 15 eshempa ba kwase untimi no kura oda one side sa na ade achi me ba boso me mienu pepene na no bena de ba yen so he pompo bone e bobo me e na mesere ho nyina hwe e bi kura no mwa e mas for class ada ha nye ba bia o se ni partner.
The church donated food items to complement government's feeding grants for inmates. Richard Brown spoke on behalf of Apostle Kojosafo of the Christo Asafo Church.
Ne papa de sin na koma so say afi bia na obedi ni birthday no e twa say otimi yi eneriafo kakra efi afiase. Last year yi nipa 15 and then yi nipa 20 and ye nipa next year no ye be say yi nipa bebre.
Meanwhile, a philanthropist, Daniel Pitti, has also paid fines of 4 others in the prison. He explains need for government to improve conditions in the prison.
This is the government bit me expanded or more.
The prison service is calling on the public to help pay fines of some inmates as a means to decongest the prison. For Joy News, Nana Elchima, Kumasi.
Member of Parliament for the Nadoli-Kaleo constituency, Anthony Suma, is calling for more relief items for victims of the August 12 flash floods in the Upper West region. He said the relief items presented by the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, are not enough considering the magnitude of the disaster in the region. Anthony Nkarawa made the call when he donated some relief items to the victims affected by the floods in the constituency. Joining his Upper West correspondent, Rafik Salam, reports.
Initial assessment done by the National Disaster Management Organization on the violent flash floods that occurred in the Upper West region put the number of persons affected at 1,605. The number of households affected by the floods were 80, totaling 336 persons. A total of 702 farms were also destroyed. Some major roads were cut off by the torrential rains. Bituminous surfaces and gravel on some major roads were washed off, leaving the culverts and bridges. The only shorter access road to the Nadoli-Kaleo district capital, though part of the roads affected by the violent floods, is located on the Somboda-Fema Road. Here, the youth of the area, on their own volition, mobilized to gather stones and gravel, heap them on the waterways to enable commuters have easy access. Member of Parliament for the Nadoli-Kaleo constituency, Anthony Mankara, who used the road, was commending the youth for the work done, called on the roads minister, Kwesi Amankwata, to live by his words by fixing the roads quickly.
This is under DBI constituency, but it has become our major route because our main route has been cut off completely and we cannot. And even here, you can observe that, but for the ingenuity of the people to be able to carry in some rocks to work on the place, it will be difficult for us to access our district. So I think that we require a major intervention and it must be immediate. The rains haven't stopped. We are still experiencing rains. And from every indication, if we have any heavy rain again, even the work the people have volunteered to do here will come to naught. And it will mean that we will have no means of accessing the district at all. So once again, we are calling on the roads minister to live by the word he gave us, that within a week, they will commence work.
Already, work on fixing the one Nadoli Highway has begun in NS at the Goridi section of the road by PNW Ghanem. Bulldozers and contractors are currently on site, digging, piling and compacting gravel to fix the road in order to open it up to traffic. The Nadoli-Kaleo MP later donated some relief items to the affected victims of the flood.
Their farmlands have been washed off, their food crops, their livestock have all been affected. So it is imperative. Central government through NADMO gave some relief items, and I indicated that it was inadequate. And everyone who has a concern for the people of this district should come on board to assist. It's in the light of this that I am bringing this token of a donation. I call it token because if you look at what I have here and the magnitude of the disaster, this cannot be a respite for the people. I have about 150 bags of rice, 50 baskets of fish, kita boys, I think 22 cartons of oil, 20 bags of salt, and then about 44 cartons of tinned tomato to donate jointly to PM and the coordinating director. You know the extent of the damage, and you'll be better placed to get this into the real affected persons.
Presiding member of the Nadule-Kelio District Assembly, Osbe Dambier, who received the items on behalf of the victims, thanked the MP for the kind gesture, pledging to ensure that they are sent to the affected victims of the flood.
Items will go down truly to the affected people. It is they who are suffering it. And we must make sure that every little item we receive goes down to them.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam, Nadoli.
Yeah, welcome to Business. I'm Charles Aite. The Ghana Statistical Service is set to put out preliminary results of the 2021 population and housing census in September. Now, the census is expected to reveal the population of the people of the country as well as the structures that would help in taking critical developmental decisions. Speaking at the closing ceremony of the training exercise organized for the post-enumerators at Winneba, the government statistician Professor Kopna Ening asked for cooperation as the 21-day post-enumeration survey kicks off across the country.
Nearly 400 enumerators have begun the post-enumeration survey by the Ghana Statistical Service. The enumerators are back on the field to assess the quality and the content of the 2021 population and housing census. Government statistician Professor Samuel Kobne-Nim says the preliminary results of the 2021 population and housing census will be released in the coming days.
Once they approve of the release calendar, we're going to put it out there. But I'm pretty certain that barring whatever challenges, in the month of September, we should be able to put out the preliminary results.
Professor Nim called for support to make the post-enumeration survey a huge success. He says the essence of the exercise is to assure themselves that the 2021 population had quality coverage as well as great content.
This is not an indication suggesting that the data that we collected during the census exercise was not of quality. This is an international requirement that anytime you do a population housing census, it is important you get people to know the level of confidence that you have in the quality of the data. So we are following international procedures, for which reason we are doing the post-enumeration survey.
Chief Technical Advisor of the UNFPA, Dr. Collins Opio, outlines what the post-enumeration survey seeks to add to the 2021 population and housing census.
We are going back to a representative sample of the census households. Those households that we go to, which are just about 1% of all the households in Ghana, we are going to go back to them with just a few questions or basic questions on characteristics that we want to check. But the most important thing that we want to do is we want to go back to those households and ask them questions about the census in terms of how many people are there during the census to ascertain that everybody in those households during the census were in fact enumerated. So this is really basically what it is to validate the census results.
The enumerators have begun the post-enumeration survey and they are expected to finish the 21-day exercise on the 14th of September. Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kwejenya-Akon, Winneba.
As road accidents increase across the country, Indigenous Oil Marketing Company, PSD Plus, has entreated corporate entities to ensure the maximum safety of their vehicles using the correct lubricants. Nana Nchubo is the General Manager of PSD Plus.
Valvoline is the first engine oil brand in the world. In 1866, Dr. Ellis developed Valvoline, which then was a petroleum-based for steam engines. Ever since, Valvoline has repeatedly innovated and produce highest quality engines, highest quality lubricants to the market.
Meanwhile, the head of technical sales, Peter Nyaba, has called for more innovations on car lubrication products to avoid road accidents.
Innovators and on their innovations to provide solutions to our problems. Thomas Edison gave us the light bulb. Nikola Tesla also provided for us alternating current, which changed the face of electricity. Steve Jobs gave us Apple. These three individuals have something in common, that is to create convenience and provide for us value for our money.
Away from that, the chief executive of the Ghana Enterprise Agency, Kosiyanke Aye, is urging the youth and women in horticulture to monetize knowledge and skills acquired. According to her, the horticulture sector is a billion-dollar industry which, when invested in, would benefit the economy. She spoke to Joy Business on the sidelines of the 2021 Ghana Garden and Flower Show.
The Ghana Garden and Flower Show, a flagship event of the Ghana Garden and Flower movement, initiated by Stratcom Africa, is aimed at promoting benefits of gardens and flowers with regard to income generation, job creation, clean and healthy lifestyles, beautification of the country's public spaces and homes, as well as the promotion of environmental conservation among Ghanaians. Chief Executive of Stratcom Africa, Esther Koba, urged the students to see horticulture as a business.
They have a lot of money in their banks, that is, in their books, and in the classes and lessons that they are taking. They have treasure that they need to take seriously. We can only provide the platform to add more. We have people investing in the knowledge that they have, and they don't even have to pay anything for this. So they should take it seriously. With them, we are stressing a wealthier Ghana, which then makes us greener, cleaner, and more beautiful. They hold the key to a lot of wealth in this country, and they should take this seriously.
Meanwhile, Chief Executive of the Ghana Enterprise Agency, Kosiyanke Aye, says her outfit is open to supporting the horticulture industry to build resilience.
Share with them experiences of how they could build resilience, how they can strengthen their ideas, how they take advantage of the opportunity to build and grow stronger in supporting the horticulture and the floriculture sector in Ghana. Across the world, it's a billion-dollar industry, and today what I had to share with them was, how do you turn this into a business? Most often people see it as theoretical when they practice it in school. It's the theoretical part that they have the opportunity to engage with. But at this point, our engagement with them is, how do you turn horticulture, floriculture, the study of agriculture, into a business? And once you turn it into a business, it becomes profitable. It also creates the opportunity for you to turn this into a job-making, able to engage more youth, create job opportunities, which would also translate into wealth generation.
The Ministry of Communication and Digitalization has reiterated government's resolve to provide the youth with a functional ICT educational system that responds timelessly to the challenges and evolution in modern science and technology. The Sector Minister, Ursula Wosu-Kufu, says it remains the only viable developmental tool that would lead to economic transformation of the country. Speaking at the commissioning of an ICT infrastructure at Asin South and Asin Central District of the Central Region, the minister was optimistic the government was on course to deliver the first-class ICT to even the underserved communities in the country. Richard Kuchonyako has more in this report.
Ursula Wosu-Kufu has been commissioning some ICT infrastructure in the Asin South and Asin Central districts in the Central Region. She says government was on an aggressive pursuit of digital infrastructure that would support economic growth. She indicates it's the right investment any government worth its salt to pursue in the wake of global trends and the transformational nature of ICT infrastructure.
Our digital infrastructure is not adequate. We still have a long way to go, even though we are better than most in the sub-region. And so it has given added impetus and urgency to the work that we are doing in the Ministry of Communications and digitalization. The government of Ghana, I'm happy to inform you, is committed to providing the youth with a functional ICT-driven educational system that responds timeously to the challenges and evolution in modern science and technology. Accordingly, President Akufo-Addo's government is focused on providing every community with ICT infrastructure to keep them in touch with global trends, and also equip our youth with the skills that will be necessary in our economic transformation.
Director of the Ghana Infrastructure Funds for Electronic Communication, Prince Ofosu-Sefa, says a lot of work is being done to improve ICT infrastructure of the government. He announced a host of development being championed.
GIBA is responding to the growing global demand for coders through the Coding for Kids initiative as well, which seeks to give opportunity to kids and youth in underserved and unserved communities. The objective of this project is to develop their problem-solving skills by teaching them to explore the world of technology through the creation of websites, computer games, interactive arts, mobile apps, and animation stories using programming language such as Java, hypertext, markup language, HTML, CSS, among others.
Principal of the Herdsmen Nursing and Midwifery Training College, Ophelia Nkrumah, appealed to the minister to do something about network coverage of some parts of the Herdsmen district, as her staff and students have to virtually comb around campus in their quest to make calls and access data.
Our major challenge as an institution includes our network connectivity. From Asin Edubiase, the current place we are sitting right through to the adjoining towns and communities ahead, have network issues. The most affected are staff and students of this institution, as they are seen roaming on campus just to get a stable place to either place a call or have an online assignment done. There are no network inside our offices too, which makes official work difficult. Moreover, as a basic requirement from the Nursing and Midwifery Council, licensing examination for acquisition of professional license is done online. With the current strength of desktop computers, it will be very difficult to have all our students en bloc to have the examination written next year, if God permits.
8 projects comprising e-learning facilities, ICT laboratories, telecom mast, and a zonal office for the Ghana Infrastructure Fund for Electronic Communication were commissioned and handed over. Richard Kwejinya-Akon, Joy News, Cape Coast.
And that'll be for business, but I'll leave you with a summary of international business news, after which sports will come next. Do stay.
Hello there, Herdsmen Zando here again with the sports, and Ghana's powerlifter Emmanuel Tete Oku begins his journey in the Paralympic Games this Saturday, August 29th. But his journey to Tokyo was not a rosy one. From an accidental gunshot wound resulting in a leg amputation to leading Team Ghana's parade at the Games. My colleague Asari Bediako was at this Anya residence shortly before he left Ghana for Japan.
When Emmanuel Tete Oku looked for light, darkness came. The 30-year-old had dreams of becoming one of the best electrical engineers in the world, but that dream was dealt a hefty blow in 2013.
It happened at the palace. I was mistakenly shot, not conflict or fight or something. It was a friend who was actually, I don't know what he was doing, but I was just sitting close to him, and all I heard was the gun just went off, and it went straight into my thighs. I was taken to the hospital, and then this. I felt bad at the beginning, but I realized it was the only option they had, because it was already rotten as the incident happened. So they told me they couldn't do anything about it. They have to amputate it. So they spoke to me. I spoke with my family. And then I was like, that's the only option I have, and I should let them do it. When it happened at 2013, I think that few 2 years, 14, 15 was when I was like, wow, Charlie, right now I can do things that I used to do. I used to love riding motorbike, and that is one thing that I can't do now, and when I remember, it really hurts me a lot.
Ahead of the Tokyo Paralympic Games, the Brother Tassicius Prosthetics and Orthotics Training College in Nsawam designed an above-knee prosthesis. Nana AJ led a team of students to design the prosthesis.
This is a prosthesis, something similar that we made for Emmanuel. So you have the socket, you have a knee joint, and then you have a prosthetic foot. Yes. Now the socket is what accommodates the residual limb, or the part that is left after amputation. And then because his amputation was an above knee amputation, that means the knee joint is not there. So we provide a mechanical knee joint and then a prosthetic foot for him. Usually amputees, it is our vision that we get them back to their feet and then to be able to walk again. Now, using the crutches or the elbow crutches isn't appropriate. So a prosthesis is provided for such a person to be able to walk independently. Now, getting him a prosthesis will go a long way to help him to walk faster than the crutches, and then to do other daily activities faster. Using the crutches demand a lot of energy expenditure, and then using the prosthesis reduces it. So I think that is going to save him a lot of strength for exercising and then other projects that is going to embark on.
Emmanuel got into powerlifting in 2018 and has performed wonders since. He's won 2 international bronze medals so far, in 2019 in Abuja, Nigeria, and 2020 in Manchester, United Kingdom. Samson Dean, president of the Ghana Paralympic Committee, expects the Accra-born powerlifter to go places.
We call him the Beast. He's a kind man, very gentle, and ready to learn athlete. His years in the sports will span from about 4 years since I became the president of the powerlifting. We picked him from nowhere, just nothing, and we did a space of 4 years. Ima is at Tokyo Games. We are using him as an example to prove to everyone that you can do it. the beast, as he is called, is exactly as he is, a very serious, determined gentleman.
Emmanuel Tete Oku, who will be competing in the men's 72 kg category, is raring to go. He says he has what it takes to win a medal in Japan.
I know by God's strength, I'll be able to achieve it, because as we came, looking at my training, although due to COVID, we were being quarantined for 7 days. We just started training this week. It has still not bring my spirit down. I'm still keeping the fire burning, and I know I can still make my target. Looking at my training and the weight I'm making now, I know I can still make my target. So I'm asking Ghanaians to support me with their moral support and their prayers, and I'm never going to let Team Ghana down. I'm going to make Team Ghana proud.
Emmanuel's trainer, Prince Nyakon, is also optimistic.
We expect the best from Ima. He's somebody who understands the game. And when you understand whatever you are doing, you don't wait for instructions. He understands what he's doing. He knows where he's going. I mean, a whole lot. So training with him motivates I myself. So I learn a lot from him as well. We are hoping for medal in Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games as well. So Ghana should watch out for Emmanuel Tete Oku, the rising star, the survivor.
Emmanuel is leaving no stone unturned in his quest to changing perceptions about persons with disability.
I don't see myself to be a disabled. I see myself to be an differently able person, but not disabled. Okay, so I just want to tell them they should go out there. There are a lot of things you can do. Begging on the street is not the only option. Okay, so they should try and then do something great for themselves. It will come with sacrifice, a lot of sacrifices, but at the end of the day, you make it in life. So they should try and then see life not to limit themselves to begging on the streets only, but they should try and then explore. There are a lot of things they can do.
And that's it for sports. Of course, there is more at myjoyonline.com/sports. My name is Hans Mensah Ando. Ernest.
Thank you very much, Hans, for bringing us up to speed with the update in the world of sports. That's our show for tonight and indeed for the week. Many thanks for your company. We have a lot of stories on myjoyonline.com. You want to read that. For me and the rest of the team, we say enjoy the weekend.
Hello, my name is Evans Mensah, and you can relive all the fun and excitement on Top Story, Newsnight, and of course, Ghana Connect via podcast. All you need to do is to log on to myjoyonline/podcast. Search for your favorite show and relive the moment. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Good morning and welcome to News File.